The Diamond League final is officially over, which effectively brings an end to professional track and field for 2024. But during those final events, there was only one of them that I knew was a foregone conclusion before the gun ever went off. Because in the championship race for the women's 400 hurdles, Femke Bol was on the starting line. And any time she's done that, for the past 4 years, she has come away as the victor. I'm going to go over that part again, in order to make it very clear. Femke Bol has now won 4 straight Diamond League championships in the 400 hurdles. If you're wondering how that's possible, and you follow track and field, I'm going to make my explanation very simple. Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone was not in the field for any of those races. But when the Olympic Games go off, specifically during the past 2, Sydney had been in those races and way out in front of everybody else. That includes Femke Bol, which is actually a bit of a problem because in track and field, the Olympics are the pinnacle of the sport. Those aren't my words. Michael Johnson, former Olympic gold medalist, said it himself. If you don't win gold at that level, specifically individually, your true greatness will always remain in question. But at this very moment, I'm ready to say that Femke Bol just might be the exception because her dominance in the sport of track and field, if you notice, I ain't even just talking about the 400 hurdles anymore, is really on another level from just about anybody else who is out there. The only woman who unquestionably is better than her happens to run the same event. And to be honest with you, up until recently, I haven't given that much thought to her career. One reason is because I primarily focus on track and field in America, specifically at the college level. She's not an American athlete, actually competes for the Netherlands, and never competed for an American college. So because she hasn't been in the front of the race, specifically at the games, I wasn't paying all that much attention at first. But I also saw you in the comment section telling me that I needed to correct that. So I did. And now that I've taken very real time to consider her career, I am going to tell you everything that I saw. So let's have a very real conversation about Femke Bol and her track and field greatness. A once-in-a-generation talent who ironically might have just been born into the wrong generation because she has won a whole bunch of championships over the past few years. She just happens to be lacking the one championship that means more than all the rest of them. And whether or not she ever wins a gold medal individually at the games should not be the only thing that defines her career, because she just might be the greatest Olympic champion that we have ever seen, who never actually became one, and this is why. Before I go any further, I do need to make sure that I put some respect on Femke Bol's name, because she is an Olympic champion in the 4x4, specifically the mixed 4x4. That is a track and field event that didn't even exist 3 Olympics ago, and as an American, I don't take it all that seriously. But remember, I said as an American, because Team USA always has so much talent that they essentially send the JV team to run the mixed relay. What I'm trying to say is that all the athletes who don't run on the primary 4x4, and generally aren't representing Team USA individually in the 400 meter dash anyway, those are the people who we asked to run the mixed relay. You don't have to believe me. Just answer this question. How come Rai Benjamin and the 3 men who were in the Olympic final for the 400, as well as Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, were not in the mixed relay for America? We expect to win that race without using our most talented athletes, which normally would work, unless an athlete like Femke Bol is on the starting line. To put this in perspective, Team USA broke the world record in the mixed relay during the 4x4 prelims at the Olympics. Remember, the event hasn't been run all that much, but it's still technically a record. But during the Olympic final, the Netherlands came back and ran 200th of a second off of that world record. That was fast enough to get them the victory. And obviously, Femke Bol has to be the real reason why. She's the only athlete on that relay who can legitimately compete to win an individual medal in a sprinting or hurdle event. So that relay medal does make her an Olympic champion, although it doesn't count anywhere near as much as doing it individually. But that is just the end of a very entertaining story, because if her relay career alone was a movie, you would probably think that I'm making this stuff up. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCArecruiting.com, where I rank the best track and field recruits across the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. Back in 2023 at the World Championships, she ran the mixed relay again. Femke Bol got the baton, and she was ahead in that race. And she was clearly the most talented woman who was running on that anchor leg. Something happened before she got to the line. And as a result, she did not get that gold. You've probably already seen the highlight, so I don't need to explain it. But she came back later in that same meet to run the women's 4x4. And that time, America messed up a baton exchange for the women's 4x4 during the prelims. So without them represented in the final, the Netherlands came out with the gold medal at the World Championships in the women's 4x4. She even ran the World Indoor Championship in the 4x4 and brought the gold medal back to the Netherlands for 2024. By now you know which nation she had to take that medal away from. And in the Olympics, she ran the women's 4x4 after running the mixed 4x4. That time they got silver, because wasn't nobody beating that American team. And of course, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone was a part of that group. If you don't understand why it's a very big deal for the Netherlands to win medals in the 4x4, allow me to explain. The Netherlands is a nation with fewer than 18 million people. It's not even the size of New York, Florida, Texas, or California. Under no circumstances should a nation that small be able to compete with America during a relay, specifically the 4x4. Where talent is all you really need to win, but they still have her on their team, which apparently is enough to pull it off. But trust me, I'm just getting started, because beyond the relay, I'm going to point out that Femke Bol has her own world record indoors in the 400-meter dash. I know that many people don't take indoor track all that seriously, but breaking a world record is still breaking a world record. And in case you weren't paying attention, she is still the reigning world champion in the 400-meter hurdles from 2023. Remember, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone didn't show up to run that race. And she was second the year before that, because, well, Sydney actually did. The biggest blemishes on her career, if you can even call it that, has to be the bronze medals from the 2020 and now the 2024 games. She was barely 21 years old at the last Olympic Games, so getting the bronze is clearly a big accomplishment at that moment. But getting the bronze in this one, that was not supposed to happen, because Femke Bol had broken the 51-second barrier in the 400 hurdles. And to be 100% real with you, when I saw that happen on the clock, that is when I knew I had to change my attitude towards her, because she was no longer just another fast woman in the race, losing to Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. She was now a woman who could threaten to beat her. Nobody was breaking 51 seconds, except Sydney. No one was even getting close. And I know I'm not the only one who was at least a bit disappointed that she didn't run better in the final, because I wanted to know what Sydney would do if Femke Bol ran with her onto that final straight. And the truth is, we might not ever find out, because Sydney really doesn't have a reason to keep running the 400 hurdles. She's been doing it basically by herself for the better part of the past decade now. And if that is true, then the 400 hurdle event has immediately become wide open. And by that I mean, wide open for Femke Bol to win it going forward. There is a reason why almost nobody on the Diamond League circuit has been able to beat her for the past 4 years in the 400 hurdles. Not just in the final. Anytime she lines up to run the race, simply put, they cannot go as fast as she can, because Femke Bol is that good. In fact, she is that great. You don't have to like it, but hey, the facts are the facts. She is a woman from a nation with a population size that is smaller than the state of New York, and turned them into one of the world's greatest powerhouses in the 4x400 meter relay. She's broken a world record, won world championships, and even brought an Olympic gold medal back to the Netherlands in a relay. The only thing that she hasn't done is give us her absolute best race during an Olympic final. But to be real, as long as Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone was on the starting line, I don't think it would have mattered that much. I am aware that in this sport, you've got to do it at the games if you really want to go down as one of the greats. And unfortunately, only one person can win a gold medal during any individual event. But Femke Bol might just be the exception to all the rules. Not just because Sydney happens to be the one way out in front of her, because she still figured out a way to get us to recognize her greatness even when she was doing it during the Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone era. She may or may not win 400 hurdle gold in 2028 at the Olympics. And that's because Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone may or may not be running the 400 hurdles at that event. But if we wrote the script for the movie today, I already know what it's gonna say. Femke Bol is one of the greatest that we've ever seen to do it on the track, regardless of what the medal count says. But my vote is that we give her the credit that she deserves. In the sport of track and field, confidence is everything, because when you win, that is just the moment when everybody else finds out what you already knew to be true, that fast is a lifestyle. Get your fast is a lifestyle track and field gear at scarecruiting.com/shop, or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.